Hey friends, I had something show up today, the moment of eruption. I don't know what to call it. It was a sense of pain. Just in looking at what's happening in the world. And I realized that my mind was making some judgments about the world. I was having thoughts that were being propelled, if there's an impulse behind them. And what came through almost immediately, as soon as I became conscious of what was happening and felt the energy behind it, felt the emotion behind it, I drew a connection between the nature of the thoughts I was having about the world out there and the nature of my own inner life, the nature of how the thoughts and feelings I have about myself, the way that I either judge myself, perceive myself, what I feel I am. And that connection is one that is really significant. It's really formative. It's possible to really understand ourselves better if we acknowledge that every time we have a thought about the world, every time we make a judgment about the world, the problem with the world, the problem with politics, the problem with whatever circumstances we might be thinking about or evaluating, that the content, it's not that those realities are necessarily all linked to our own experience, but the content of our judgments about them, the content of our experience of those realities is linked to what's underlying in us. There's no external reality that we experience independent of our own conditioning. feelings about the way things are, those judgments, it's good to remember that anytime I leverage that energy outside myself, anytime I point the judgment at something that's out there, seemingly, in the world, not only is that judgment going to ricochet off the universe and come back and be directed at me, which that's simple self-interest might prevent me from making those judgments for that reason. But more than that, it's also part of what I'm doing to shape reality. When I exert, when I send that judgment out, or I send that emotion out, it's like it comes, it has a little, it puts that signature onto the portions of the universe that I interact with. It has this, it's like painting one stroke of paint over a giant wall with that color. And so, where this leaves me is just kind of back to a pretty basic but pretty important tenet of inner work, of spiritual practice, of living in connection, living in alignment. Which is that giving ourselves and the events of the universe the grace, giving the they out there that we have such an easy time judging, a benefit of the doubt kind of grace. Living from grace, assuming grace. Because that will both connect what we direct at ourselves in terms of energy and emotion, and it'll keep us conscious of what kinds of impulses, what kinds of thoughts, what kinds of emotions we're provoking ourselves with. And it'll also give us a chance to just take a beat, take a breath before we put something out into the universe, before we put that stroke of paint on the wall. And that beat, that breath gives us a moment to decide if that's what we think the world needs. Is that what we want to put out there? Or is it not? Is it something else? It's not it shouldn't happen from a place of self-preservation. It shouldn't happen, well, I don't want to feel that, so I'm not going to say that. It happens from a place of truly asking, is this right for the world? And I think we can, connect with that feeling only when we realize that the world is our interior world and the exterior world as one system. It's always a powerful moment when a judgment issues from us. And I've learned to identify those moments, those feelings, and I don't always catch them before they happen. And I'm not always able to keep that membrane around them of total consciousness, of the mirror between inner and outer. But man, the payoff for doing so and the level of the energetic increase in my vibration that I feel when I do so is massive. It can be the difference between a day of unawareness and a quantum leap in my connection. So I think that's why it showed up this morning as being particularly significant. So that's what I got today, folks. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.